I'm Danielle, and I actually started my career out doing direct services, so right out of college, and I did that for about 4 years. And my first experience was, just kind of being young and enthusiastic and wanting to work with people. And when I sat down at the end of the day and I was working with a caseload of 50 individuals and I was supposed to have a caseload of 25, and there were all these other issues in our organization, I just really questioned kind of what kind of impact was I making, what kind of impact was the organization making, and then thinking about all these other little organizations and what kind of impact were they making. So I stopped and I thought, well, I should take a step back, and I thought I would go get my MSW actually and pursue administration and learn how to run a good organization and go that route. And then I kind of stepped back again and said, I don't think that's really the way to go. I think there's a different way to go. And this was, in the mid to late 90s. So again, it's kind of at the same time these new ideas are starting to bubble up and there's new interesting things going on in the sector. So I actually just put the brakes on everything, and I kind of started getting jobs in other nonprofit organizations, just learning more about finance and administration and what it took to run a good organization. And I, found the Edna McConnell Clark Foundation by luck, and it was a great fit and really fit with my values really well about, looking for high-performing organizations and focusing the investment there, but then also partnering with organizations to really improve their capacity, to improve their services at the end of the day to the people who need them. And so I've been there ever since, and that's been about 6 years. And along the way, I went back and got an MBA as well, and managed to do that part-time while I was working. And so it was a very exciting road. And to give you kind of the overview of the Clark Foundation, kind of building off of what Matt said, I think, unlike some of these other organizations here, we are or were a very traditional foundation. We've been around since the late 1960s. One original donor who set up an endowment. We made lots of little grants in 5 different program areas, and then it was in the mid-1990s that the board of the Clark Foundation, well, it was really the early 1990s, really kind of, they pulled up themselves and said, well, what kind of impact are we making? We have limited resources to give out, and how can we essentially get the most bang for our buck, And so that's when they developed the Youth Development Fund strategy. And it was really about focusing. Since we had a limited amount of resources to give, it was, let's focus on youth, and let's focus on low-income youth. And historically, the foundation has always focused on disadvantaged populations. So the core mission is still intact. It's just really much more focused. And from there, the strategy evolved that, not only is it about the population, but where are we putting the dollars? How are we deciding where to put the dollars? And so from that perspective, it became really important to focus on evidence and effectiveness. And there's that word proven again, and we'll definitely talk about what that means. So we prioritized organizations that had, proven impact in several different outcome areas. And devised a whole process for doing our own due diligence and invest in a very limited number of organizations. We have a total of 20 organizations in the fund. And, we believe in investing against business plans and, multi-year investments over several years, and really partnering with organizations and really getting to know them. And as we launched this strategy in 2000 and have learned a lot along the way, it was last year when we were working with some organizations that had been in the fund for a while, had really strong results with the youth they were working with, and the 3 organizations are the Nurse Family Partnership based in Denver, Youth Villages in Memphis, and Citizen Schools in Boston. And, as it's relevant, we can talk about their models and how they're different from each other. And so, what we learned for them to really scale up, and again, there's a term we should talk about what exactly that means, for them to really scale up, they needed a lot more money, a lot more capital than the Clark Foundation could provide. And so we designed what we call our growth capital aggregation strategy, is the term we apply to it, but it really is what Matt said. It's a syndicate of other funders, and we partnered with these organizations to do fundraising, to raise capital, really, and we raised $120 million, and this will provide all the capital these organizations need for the next 5 to 10 years if their plans work out as planned. And so that's kind of the nutshell of, how we started and where we are now, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions and we'll get into it more.